All right, guys, welcome back to Scoreline Sports. Without further ado, we got the Big 12 Conference Tournament predictions. Let's get right on into it. So this tournament actually started yesterday, and some of these games have already happened. As you can see, UCF has already beaten Oklahoma State, and actually down low, Cincinnati has already beaten West Virginia. So I'm just going to write that one in right there. Then we got BYU versus UCF. This game has actually already happened, but I did pick BYU to win this game, so I'm going to go with BYU, and they did. I believe they won. I actually don't know if this game already happened. I'm pretty sure it did. Then we got TCU and Oklahoma. For this one, I'm going to be going with TCU. TCU, I believe they're somewhat on the bubble. I thought they were kind of a lock to make it, but they've kind of faltered a little bit down the stretch here, so they definitely need to get a win here. So I'm going to go with TCU. I think they're going to get it done, and I will. I do think that we'll see both of these teams in March. Then we got Texas versus Kansas State. Kansas State definitely needs a run to go on a run here in this tournament to make March Madness. Texas, I would think that they would be in the tournament. They definitely seem like a tournament team in my eyes. Um, but Kansas State, they're going to be wanting this game. They really need this one. And I think they're going to play with the motivation necessary to get the win. Then we got Cincinnati and Kansas. Kansas is like really hobbled right now because Kevin McCullough Jr. and Hunter Dickinson are both missing the Big Ten tournament. The team announced, or excuse me, not the Big Ten tournament, the Big 12 tournament. Neither Hunter Dickinson or Kevin McCullough Jr., possibly their two best players, definitely their two of their key players to the success of this team will not be playing in this tournament. And it's starting to look a little bit grim for Kansas. I know if they're fully healthy, they can hang with anybody in the country. I think many people would agree with that statement, but the problem is, can they be healthy? And if they are healthy, will they be healthy enough to really make a run here? And I think this is kind of like they're not really as focused on the Big 12 tournament as maybe some other teams are. They know they're going to be in the tournament, probably looking at a 4 seed right now. Could potentially drop to a 5 seed. I think they'll end up being in the 4 range. But anyways, back to the tournament. Like I said, they're missing a lot of their key players, but I don't think they're going to lose first round in this tournament. I just don't see that happening with Kansas, so I'm going to go with Kansas to beat Cincinnati. Then looking back to the quarterfinals, these will be on Thursday. You got BYU taking on Texas Tech. Texas Tech has been one of the teams that has kind of flown under the radar this year, and now they're finishing top four in the best conference in the country. That's really impressive for them. And I think against this BYU team, Texas Tech is going to be able to get the win. So I'm going with Texas Tech. Then we got TCU taking on Houston. Houston, I'd say they're still in play for the number one overall seed in March Madness. I think they would need UConn, maybe UConn. Obviously, I think if Houston were to win the Big 12 tournament, and then you had UConn and Purdue also slip up within their conference tournaments, I would see Houston being the number one overall seed in the March Madness tournament. And I definitely think that they will get the win over TCU. Houston is just relentless defensively and led by Jamal Shed and LJ Cryer, one of the best backcourts in the country. This team is definitely going to beat TCU. Moving on, we got Kansas State versus Iowa State. This is definitely a game that Kansas State would need to win if they wanted to make the March Madness tournament, but I just don't see it happening. Iowa State, they're also an underrated team. I think they're a 2 seed in March Madness. Three at the worst. Three floor, two ceiling for this Iowa State team. And not a lot of people are talking about them either. I mean, they've beaten pretty much everybody that they've played. Obviously, they're unbeaten at home, one of the best teams at home, if not the best team at home within the country. And I think they're going to get the win against Kansas State. Then we got Kansas and Baylor. These teams split the head to head in the regular season. And I think this is where Kansas's lack of health is definitely going to catch up to them. Jacoby Walter, standout freshman for Baylor. I think he's a future lottery pick in the draft, and I'm going to go with Baylor. Then the semifinals on March 15th, the Friday, Texas Tech versus Houston. Look, Texas Tech is good, but I think Houston is going to be quite the force in this tournament. So give me Houston. Then we got Iowa State taking on Baylor. Both teams are good, obviously. I could see Baylor being a 3 seed. If they were to win this tournament, they could potentially move up to the 2 line. but I think realistically Baylor's going to be looking at a 3, Iowa State 2 or 3, kind of in the same position with these two. But this game could actually impact their seeding a lot depending on who wins. I feel like the winner would kind of solidify themselves ahead of the other when it comes to bracket seeding for the March Madness bracket. And I think Baylor's going to get the win here. I like Jacoby Walters. I think this team is really clicking at the right moment, which sets up a championship game against Houston on Saturday, March 16th. And look, this is going to be a good game. Baylor, they got some fight in them, but I do think that Houston is going to get the win. Thanks, guys. Thank you for watching, guys. Make sure to stay tuned for more conference tournament predictions coming up, and I'll see you guys in the next one.